Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back.
What if your gimbal camera could do more than just capture footage? Normally, after every shot, you have to connect it to an app or transfer the footage to a computer just to check the image quality and then upload it to social media. That means one more step in the workflow, and honestly, doesn't that feel unnecessarily complicated? Now imagine having a single device that combines the entire shooting workflow into a smartphone. Would you actually buy something like that? I've been using the Honor phone for quite some time, and apart from its price, the biggest questions people have are about its camera, AI features, and everyday user experience. As someone who's still relatively new to video blogging, we're not going to focus on anything else in this episode. Today, we're mainly looking at its camera performance and how well it can support content creators.
A quick shout out to my tech partner from China for sharing this video. A big thank you for making this possible. Hey everyone, it's Maiky from techmaiky. If you love staying updated with the latest gadgets, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out our exciting tech content.
Before we get into the actual camera experience though, let's take a look at the hardware. The Honor phone's primary gimbal camera uses a 1.28-inch sensor with a massive 200 megapixel resolution. Honestly, that sensor is slightly smaller than the 1-inch sensors commonly found in traditional gimbal cameras. But considering that Honor has managed to integrate the entire system into a smartphone, I think the size is quite reasonable. The front telephoto camera also features a 200 megapixel sensor, along with up to 62x zoom and a default 2.7x optical magnification. Its sensor is slightly smaller than the main cameras. Despite all this hardware, the phone's overall thickness has been kept to around 10 millimeters. If Honor had gone with a full 1-inch sensor, the gimbal mechanism and the phone's thickness would obviously become much larger. It would also demand more advanced heat dissipation, making the final thickness far less practical for a smartphone. There's also a front-facing camera built into the front display. Some of you may be wondering why Honor needs a separate selfie camera when the main gimbal camera is already there. Well, at the moment, the gimbal camera can't completely replace the front camera for a few important reasons. For starters, the gimbal takes roughly 4 seconds to rise, which is relatively slow when you need to quickly unlock or use the phone. On top of that, Google has strict requirements for front-facing cameras. The camera needs to be physically aligned with the main display, and financial and backing apps follow these requirements. Without a dedicated front-facing camera, Honor would need to develop a separate API that allows those applications to access the gimbal camera as the front camera. From a practical perspective, that would already be complicated. Add the additional research, development, and hardware costs, and the challenge becomes enormous. With the technology available today, the robot phone approach may be simply the more practical solution. Now, one of the biggest camera upgrades is Honor's collaboration with ARRI. And this isn't just about putting the ARRI name on the phone, changing the user interface, or simply adding an ARRI-style filter. Honor has actually brought ARRI's standard LogC3 curve into the phone from the ground up. It supports 1024 color depth and speed. And during testing, both the main camera and telephoto camera were able to work with it. I even downloaded and checked the LUT library directly from ARRI's website, and it can be used with the phone. That, to me, is the real importance of the Honor and ARRI collaboration. From my own experience, though, there is one limitation when using it directly on the phone. At the moment, I can only preview the ARRI LUT colors while shooting. The exported video itself still appears in grayscale, so you have to go into the gallery's editing tools afterward and apply the ARRI LUT to bring the color back. Personally, I find that workflow a little repetitive, and it definitely affects efficiency. Wouldn't it be much faster if the main gallery interface simply included a direct preview option? There's also no real way to fine-tune the colors, which can be a little frustrating. That said, the actual colors have a very strong ARRI-style character. I also think the white balance performance is extremely accurate. A big reason for that is Honor's white balance lock feature. Once you activate it, the phone locks the white balance parameters it detects initially, helping prevent the color temperature from constantly shifting. I think this feature is genuinely clever. Even when switching to log color while shooting with the telephoto camera, you don't get that annoying color change that can happen when switching between lenses. For comparison, we also brought along a Panasonic GH7 using the same LogC3 curve. Obviously, the image quality and brightness aren't identical, but the overall color rendering is surprisingly close. And if you're working with multiple cameras shooting LogC3, having them produce a similar color profile makes the entire post-production and color grading workflow much easier. Honor has also added features like tail color and branch focus, which are normally associated with professional cinema cameras. I don't think I need to spend too much time explaining branch focus. The more interesting feature here is tail color. Only FX3 users will really understand how useful this can be. If you want this kind of feature on a higher-end setup, you'd normally have to move up to something like an FX5. Tail color is primarily designed to help when shooting log footage. Once enabled, it allows you to accurately judge the current exposure settings through visual color information. I compared two clips side by side, one using completely automatic exposure and one where the exposure was adjusted based on the tail color. The difference is quite obvious. The clip adjusted using the tail color avoids both underexposure and overexposure, producing something much closer to a properly exposed standard log outdoor shot. As for the fully automatic exposure, well, it still has a little room for improvement.
Another thing I really like about the Honor robot phone is its size and how comfortable it feels when using it with one hand. You can control both the shutter and the rising gimbal using just one hand, and even people with smaller hands should find it fairly easy to operate. I would definitely recommend turning on subject tracking. It can quickly recognize and lock onto your subject, and during my testing, the tracking performance was very good. It stayed locked onto the subject and followed them consistently. Of course, just like other gimbal cameras, when there are multiple people in the frame, there is still the possibility that it could accidentally track the wrong person. But the gimbal isn't only about subject tracking. It gives you several camera movement options. Even if you're completely new to shooting videos, you can easily create movements such as 90-degree and 180-degree rotations. It's a very beginner-friendly system. Under normal shooting conditions, the physical gimbal design also gives the phone a major advantage when it comes to stabilization. In the past, when I wanted to film cars, I would either attach accessories to the roof or try to shoot through the window, which meant doing a lot of work from the front. Now things are much simpler. You can just mount the robot phone onto a phone holder, adjust the gimbal, and let its stabilization system handle the movement. It makes capturing this kind of footage much more convenient. There is, however, one small limitation with the gimbal. The telephoto camera can't be used while the gimbal is operating. Instead, the telephoto view is basically a crop from the main camera, so the image quality is slightly lower. According to the official explanation, the main camera and telephoto camera are positioned too far apart, which creates completely different perspectives, making it difficult to use the telephoto camera with the gimbal at the moment. From a user's point of view, I can't say I completely understand that limitation, but hopefully Honor can improve it through future updates. There's another small issue as well. When you leave the camera app or lock the screen, the gimbal doesn't automatically retract. Instead, you only receive a pop-up notification reminding you about it. Honor says this is because the back cover could potentially interfere with the gimbal. Personally, though, I think there should be a dedicated switch for this. Otherwise, what happens if someone forgets to retract the gimbal and simply puts the phone into their pocket? Moving on to the photography experience, the combination of Honor's image processing algorithms and camera features is still very impressive. Skin tones look clean and naturally rosy, while the background blur is smooth and refined. The overall rendering has an almost oil painting-like quality, which creates a really nice atmosphere in portraits. When switching to the telephoto camera under strong sunlight, the highlight control is also excellent. Even the bright areas on the face remain under control, while small details, such as the texture of a straw hat, are still clearly preserved. The live video quality is impressive too. Even during movement, there's very little noticeable loss in image quality. There are also two particularly interesting shooting features. The first is the front-facing group photo mode. It allows you to switch between landscape and portrait orientations, while the AI automatically captures 3 frames and combines them into one ultra-wide image. For group photos, this can be extremely useful. The second is the rear camera panorama mode. It captures 4 images and stitches them together to create a 180-degree panoramic photograph. The final image is quite large, but despite that, the panorama quality is still surprisingly impressive. The Honor Robot phone also comes with a massive 7,600 mAh Qinghai Lake battery. It supports 120-watt fast wired charging as well as 50-watt wireless charging. In our charging test, going from completely empty to 100% took around an hour and 10 minutes. The included charger uses gallium nitride technology and has a relatively compact design, which I consider another nice advantage. In our 2-hour simulated daily use battery test, the phone still had 54% battery remaining. We also tested the long-term battery performance while recording with LogC3. During 30 minutes of continuous recording, the battery level dropped by approximately 19%. If you want a more comfortable experience during extended recording sessions, you can also pair the phone with Honor's official cooler or use a third-party cooling solution. As Honor's first-generation product in this category, the robot phone is already a surprisingly complete device, but there are still several areas where the overall user experience needs some work. For example, the virtual joystick feels too basic, and controlling it with one hand isn't particularly efficient. If Honor added more functions to the joystick, such as zoom control, it could open up more advanced shooting techniques, including physical CG-style effects and AI-related controls. But at the moment, the tuning isn't quite smooth enough. There's also an unusual issue in video mode. When you're holding the phone vertically, the video appears horizontally. Then when you rotate the phone horizontally, the video becomes vertical instead. It also doesn't properly fill the entire display. Honestly, this feels quite awkward. Once the gimbal is retracted, the normal horizontal and vertical viewing behavior returns. Another limitation is that multi-camera recording only supports 1080p resolution, and the current split-screen interface feels somewhat disconnected. After raising the gimbal, the feature can even become unusable. Personally, I think this feature still feels quite rough, and I hope Honor gives it a serious optimization in the future. Overall, the Honor Robot phone brings something genuinely different to today's increasingly similar smartphone market. Its design is unique, and the everyday experience feels noticeably different from a conventional smartphone. The biggest downside for me is definitely the weight. The phone weighs almost half a pound, so when you're carrying it on a belt, you can definitely feel the extra weight. But for content creators, there's a major advantage. A single device can handle most of the shooting tasks you would normally need multiple pieces of equipment for. Especially when you're shooting outdoors, you don't necessarily need to carry 2 separate devices anymore. For vloggers, getting used to such an unusual piece of equipment can certainly take some time, but right now, this is one of the few portable shooting devices that attempts to solve the entire process in a single package. And if you're more interested in the upcoming camera-focused Honor phones, there's definitely something to look forward to with the Magic 9 series in September. According to my sources, it will inherit the camera algorithms and features developed for the Honor Robot phone series. Alright, that's it for today's video. If you have any thoughts about the Honor Robot phone, let me know what you think down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!